I've been considering some of my community interactions recently in the comment section of my Battles 2 strategy videos, and I wanted to share with you some of the things for the community to consider as we all progress into Season 4. Think of this as a part 2 to the previous video on meta strategic creation. Today we're going to be focusing mainly on coding and programming. I figured the theme of the new character is a programmer, so I wanted to get into a little computer science type stuff for a minute. And specifically, we're going to be talking about the types of languages we can use when creating or coding these new Season 4 meta strategies. So I'm going to share with you all some ideas. Hopefully this inspires you and we can make some cool builds for Season 4. The first is the key of looping, or using loops to efficiently complete certain tasks. Think of people XP farming and rank ladder grinding right now. They're just looping the same type of gameplay over and over again. Patterns of these loops are causes that repeat over and over again in order to achieve a specific effect or an outcome. So just cause and effect over time. Now, a loop of cause and effect over time can be fun to experience, though they can also be augmented and improved as we experience them over time, so we can refine their outputs and get more out of our time that we put into these. So there are physical loops that we take, like physically playing the game and experiencing it, but there are also thought loops that are a great way to organize your thoughts and increase your productivity. By repeating the same loop over and over again, you can focus on one task at a time and get it done more efficiently. And then when you're done with your tasks, you can take that loop and look at it from a higher perspective and augment specific parts of that strategy and try it again to see if that loop works better than the last one. Loops are good for daily tasking. However, to get an overall view of the whole strategy, mind mapping can come in handy. So what's mind mapping? By creating a visual representation of your ideas, you can see how they connect with each other and come up with new ideas more easily than what you were doing before. Now, one example of a mental mind map, usually you can just imagine a forest of trees with each tree acting as a visual representation for a specific word. So like you have a tree of Dart Monkey, where you have the Dart Monkey tree and all the different strategies that branch off from him. Like, okay, yeah, his top path is good early game, blah, 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 blah. And then like another tree in the forest is the Wizard Monkey. It's like, oh, he's good with camo detection, bottom path. Usually he's good mid-game with his middle path ability, like all that. You have this whole forest of different trees that you can just browse, and then you can pick 2 trees that you like and then imagine their branches woven, and then you can just kind of see how they blend together. A lot of people have different ways of visualizing different things, so you can just kind of Google it, see which one works for you if that's something of your interest. But tying it more back into the computer programming type of thing, there are a few different ways to code thought loops and mind maps, depending on your needs and preferences. A good meme to start with is Python or C++. Those are a nice intro into thinking like coding with Word. Now, before the internet times, people would use notebooks and pencils, and they would use diagrams and symbols to code certain things, while others would find it helpful to use specific programming languages in our age, such as Java or, again, Python, things like that, to square away certain tasks. Whichever method you choose, it's important to be clear and concise in your coding and in the language you use, so that you can easily track your thoughts and simplify the process of augmenting your strategic code later on. All that to say, like, write your stuff down and then look at the sentence, change the sentence, generally speaking. So changing your sentences, what does that mean? Well, I'm going to use the terms binding language to strategy because this is a Bloons strategic channel. The way you bind language to your strategy can have a big impact on how well you're able to execute your strategic creations. Now, what I mean when I say binding to language is to describe the act of taking an experience from the game, coding it linguistically into written words, and then taking that written code and expanding on it by changing various variables such as the nouns, verbs, or other language coding structures to discover new builds by substituting key areas of the sentence that you create. This method of observing, coding, augmenting, and experiencing is something that can be practiced. Like it's like a daily action that you can do, or like a method. It can be done in a time span of like hours and minutes, seconds, years, things like that, depending on the type of loop that you're creating and the information that you're harvesting from your strategic interest at that time. Now, when doing this, make sure that the language you use is specific and actionable. That means, it should generally be clear, as I said before, and it should outline exactly what needs to be done over time, specifically in time, because that's where the present is, in order to achieve the desired outcome for your chosen strategy. Now, as another side meme, it's good to keep your language motivating. It should inspire you to take action and help you stay focused on your goal. so that both you can see new branches for your strategy and that you would be willing to do work to bear the fruit from those branches. I'm going to try to use one more example for you to visualize this. Think of lasers and light bulbs. Laser is focused into a singular beam of energy, just kind of directed at a specific aim, whereas a light bulb radiates in all directions. It's not really like common to aim at a target with the light bulb, but it is common to aim at a target with something that has a point, such as like an arrow or like a beam, like a laser beam, you know what I mean? And if inspiration is the energy behind your strategic creation, then it will be easier to write your plans with a laser beam instead of a light bulb. You know what I mean? Like binding the energy into a symbolic code preserved over time using written language such as English or programming code if you're doing it digitally. Now, that's a lot of words, but in Battles 2 terms, directing your focus towards the right towers, the right team combinations, and other important strategic memes allows you to focus on the things that will grow your strategy into something better instead of the deconstructive side of it, such as the losses and the weak options of your current pool of towers to use in season 4. So finally, I want to just give you a little bit more inspiration for the type of language you should use when you're coding these strategies. It's good to keep it positive. You know, that's always a good meme. You should emphasize what you want to achieve rather than what you don't want to happen. This will lay the groundwork for the rest of the language you use for your chosen strategy. And if the original language you use to describe a new situation in the game, if it's destructive, how will you expect to build something using linguistic bricks of destruction opposed to growth, if that makes any sense? So please consider the types of words, the type of building blocks you use for your internal voice when crafting your strategies for this game. Don't build for yourself a world of destruction, but more so something of a gallery of experience to feed not only yourself, but others who choose to observe it. So we'll figure it out over the next couple of days, but for now, thanks for watching.